What are the three things that you think could elevate any store? They put their attention on this, you're going to level up.
Yeah. I mean, I do think like that basic housekeeping piece is so easily achievable at this point that we should not still be talking about it, and yet I can still talk about it. Lighting, scent, sound, sight lines,
Right.
aisles, organization, signage, all those things. Just make it like walk into another retail store. Walk into another retail store and experience it. You better believe that every time I walk into a retail store, I'm analyzing it for stuff that I can steal.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and use in my own business. Because they all have like massive market researchers. They spend tons of money figuring out exactly how to lay out a store and exactly what to do. So why wouldn't I steal all that information for myself? I mean, every retailer should just read Paco Underhill's book, because it is
Why We
really like Why We Buy it's the Bible of retail. It's was written a long time ago now, but it still holds up absolutely, and everyone should read it and pay attention. So that is super key. I think that prioritizing customers far too often. I think far too often stores do hire people who are more into the product than into the job, if that makes sense. So they tend to be maybe a little bit shyer about approaching customers. They kind of just want to stick to their own thing. They're used to sticking to their own thing. They're maybe used to not having the thing they love be respected or accepted by people, and they're maybe shy or timid about speaking about what they love to customers. So I think like as much as it does mean like hours and hours and hours of interviews and deep processes to get the right staff, finding staff who are going to prioritize your customers. And if they're not those staff right off the bat, find a way to make them that. They should be, getting out from behind the counter, approaching customers, talking to customers, helping them out immediately. I cannot tell you the number of times I walk into a store and no one pays any attention to me at all. And that's not just comic shops, that's any store. You know how annoyed it makes me to be not even acknowledged that I've walked into that store? Like literally, again, I took time to leave my house to come here. I could have bought this online and I walked into this store, and so you better pay attention to the fact that I'm here. I remember I went to this clothing store recently and I wrote a whole thing about it to my staff because I was like, this is exactly how not to do business. And I first of all was not acknowledged. I ended up with like an armload of clothes I wanted to try on, and still no one was approaching me to help me out. And eventually, at the end of my transaction, I went to talk to them and I was like, look, this is not how you do things. Like, this is not how you do retail. Like, I was mad enough that I was like, we need to talk. We need to have a conversation about what just happened here. I was like, no one in the store is being serviced. No one is being talked to. You're not treating the people here the way they want to be treated. They came here for a reason. They want you to be there at their side, telling them the deals, telling them, helping them find sizes, helping them to the change rooms, all that stuff, checking in on them. But yet I have been barely spoken to the whole time I've been in here. And the response I got was, corporate has decided that it's more important for us to service our web customers than the customers in the store. So we have to prioritize filling web orders over customers in the store. Wow. And I was like, but customers in the store in front of you, they are the priority. And that's the thing. The customer in your store is the priority over anything else. So when that person walks in, make them feel welcome, make them feel seen, make them feel like you're there for them and you're ready to help them, and that they don't have to interrupt you or put you out of your way to do something. Like you are there because they came to talk to you. So be there for your customers. So that's a big one that I think like any retail establishment could benefit from, including big corporations. And a third thing, let me think. I mean, I'm always going to talk about kids' books. I think like the kids market is so easy. It's such an easy market. Kids books are driving the book market entirely, and kids graphic novels are pretty easy to sell. I mean, you don't have to carry a ton of SKUs, but there's certain SKUs that will sell guaranteed. You just look at bestseller charts and figure out what those are. Dave Pilkey, Raina Telgemeier, like those are home runs. And I have a lot of retailers who say, well, the Barnes & Noble carries them. Or I can't compete with the big box store. but you can, because you already have people coming into your store, and
Yeah.
your customers have children, and they already came to support you. So why do you think they don't want to support you more by buying that book from you instead of going down the street to the Barnes and Noble? Like,
Also, in this day and age, I don't think that the Barnes and Noble is necessarily something that people are automatically going into anyway.
yeah,
You know, I mean, I imagine their walk-in traffic has probably just dropped precipitously in the last few years, and they're here
yeah,
in front of you. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, the Indigo here, which is like the Barnes and Noble of Canada, they regularly, the one in town regularly sends people to the Dragon for like manga and graphic novels. They're like, we actually have no idea what we're talking about, so go down to the Dragon, because that's the other thing. Those big box stores cannot keep on top of all their product. They have so much product, it's absurd. And unless you have someone in there who's a specialist, who is also working every single shift, then
Right.
that whole section of the store goes unserviced. So your job, like as comic shops, this is our specialty. So why are we cutting off a section of like high profit, great turn items? It can be scary to bring in stuff we don't know. Like if you don't have kids and you don't know the kids market, it can be harder. But there are really great sales charts and great data out there about book sales that are really easy to apply to your store.